Hello guys. This is a preview of the new update for Minecraft Spring to Life Drop that is now available to download using the links provided in the description of this video. A video where I will primarily focus on the use and properties of the village controller. But first I want to show you a late addition to this mod that gives new use and purposes to the leather armor. As you can see, I'm wearing a full set of leather armor which enables some powerful modes only available when wearing this armor. One of these modes is the tree capitatia, which works by interacting with any log as you would do to strip them, so not chopping the block but interact with them. Doing so will chop all the logs located on top or near, depending on the tree, of the log you interacted with. Here my hide guard hurt me while trying to range attack that spider. I want to point this because, as a player, I am currently in no team and as a result I can receive friendly fire, even from my army. A dedicated video about team management, friendly fire, and rule of engagements will be available soon. All you have to know for now is that, as a player, you will be assigned a random team the first time you enter in a village, like I just did entering this village, where I was assigned Team Black, and doing so you will no more receive friendly fire from your own army. I am giving a shield to one of my guards, which gives them 20% damage reduction, a perk reserved only to guards you hire. Let's enter this vanilla village so I can show you how there are guards that patrol it, because guards naturally spawn in villages to protect them. Here's one. They have random gear on spawn, their armor ranges from leather to iron, and they have both a melee and a ranged weapon that they switch depending on target distance. See that weaponsmith? I will show his trade offers. Each villager profession now not only offers the vanilla trades, which are tweaked to be more useful and impactful, but also new trades that reward exploration, because they pay many emeralds to buy loot that is generally found only when you explore. On top of that, they are fully integrated with the new manufacturing system that I will show you later in this video. One more thing about guards, iron golems, and village defenses. As you can see in their untamed status, they cannot be directly damaged by the player. They can be killed by interacting with a wooden hoe, but your attacks will not damage them nor will make them angry. This is a good solution because you can fight on their side while defending the village without worrying about misclicks. But now let's focus on the main topic of this video, the village controller and claiming some land as your own. To show you this, I am moving to another village further along the road. That fortified village over there is an instant building available in the mod for use in creative mode for players that wants to experiment with these mechanics. Note that the mod also offers some instant buildings that are also available in survival mode and can be purchased. In this little fort there are many villages, one for each of their professions, which in vanilla are 13 in total. It is organized to be self-sufficient and it is heavily guarded, as there are soldiers patrolling the streets, while on the walls there are many guards and 4 cannons. This, for example, is a cannon or tank, as it can also move with fuel. But this topic will require another video focused just on that, given that our focus now is another. Let's go inside the main building, which has already built a system to compact and sort the resources that can be collected by your village, once claimed. The village controller is an item you place inside the boundaries of any vanilla village. This mod lets you know when you are inside a village with an action bar message. The recipe of the controller is 6 copper blocks and 3 emerald blocks. Once placed, it will search for nearby other village controllers, as they can only be placed when they are at least 250 blocks apart, otherwise the placement will fail and you will be given back the item. The default color is royal purple, but you are free to dye it the color you like. Note how once placed it has already the name of the owner as name tag. Now that this is placed, I am claiming everything in a radius of 48 blocks from this controller. Every other player that enters this area will be forced into adventure mode, incapable of breaking blocks and generally having their interaction with my land greatly diminished. The controller textures are information rich. Everything displayed on the controller has a meaning. For example, the red dots you see are signal that the controller has its inventory interface ready to be displayed on interaction. Whenever the controller collects the produce of the villagers, it will place it inside its inventory, which you can access. But then you can use also a vanilla hopper to retrieve it. The controller has also a trade interface, which is accessed by interacting with a torch without sneaking. And you will see the red dots turning green. You can cycle between trade and inventory interface by interacting with a torch, not sneaking. The trade offers of the controller allow you to dump low-value materials, profiting from it. And not only that, as the trades are fully integrated with the manufacturing system of this mod. Here you can also buy the instant buildings allowed in survival, as I mentioned earlier. You probably have noticed a green flag shown at the controller face. That symbol means that this controller is in its standard mode, which is land claiming only, where it doesn't produce or collect anything but also have no risk of face an Illager siege. It just claims the land for the owner. But you can change it by interacting with a torch while sneaking. Doing so, you can enable taxation or industry mode. The taxation mode has an emerald symbol and will collect emeralds for each villager profession. This means that to have the full taxation returns, you must have all villager professions assigned around it. Having more than this will not reward with increased income. A full village generally produces 26 emeralds during a full Minecraft day. In this building, the emeralds are automatically taken from the controller inventory and packed into emerald blocks. As you can see, this village has all 13 profession. I remind you that villagers' trades are now much more useful. Even the cartographer here has all the changes of latest Minecraft update plus much more useful maps that points to almost all Minecraft generated structures like temples, end cities, etc. So commerce is a pillar concept of the game now. Also because emeralds are needed to hire and field an army. The Wandering Trader 2 is much more useful as you can sell stuff to them and you can get much more blocks and exotic items from him than in vanilla, and this is very useful for the manufacturing system of this mod, as to manufacture anything you first must have a prototype of the block to mass produce and dupe. But let's return to our main building to check how much emeralds we collected while we were out. It seems we collected just one more emerald. A total of 26 are collected during the Minecraft day for full village. Let us go upstairs now to change collection mode from taxation to industry by interacting with a torch sneaking. The industry mode symbol is a green ingot, which is a new item called raw materials, which can be packed in denser items of the same type for storage purposes, hence the use of the crafters in this buildings. I had already placed some here to show their immediate use. You can utilize them to dupe some very low-level blocks, like cobblestone, just by having one cobblestone and one raw material in a crafting interface. Notice how you must have at least one item of the thing you want to manufacture to duplicate it. This means that the first time you must build or obtain the things the vanilla way, and only then you can spend these resources to dupe them. A full Minecraft village during the day can collect 1400s of these, which seems a lot, but as I said, they are good only to dupe very low-tech stuff like cobblestone, in this form. When they are packed into denser forms, you can easily unpack and repack them manually in a crafting interface. Here, for example, you see one item packed 64 times. This means that one of those is worth a full stack of unstacked raw material. Note that packed raw materials cannot be used in crafting recipes, they have only storage purposes. The crafting recipes that are enabled with this new system are all available in the Vanilla Recipes book, so you will know once you will unlock them, and they will be readily available to you without having to memorize them or having to read a guide. But now let's go unlocking the full potential of the manufacturing system. To do so, I am moving to another building outside, which is an instant building you can purchase from the controller. It's called the factory and is capable of producing its own fuel to process the raw materials into energy and processed materials. Here is all organized and clocked to output the processed materials in the highest pack form, as they, differently from the raw materials, stack only as 4 items per inventory slot, but are much more powerful. This facility has inputs for raw materials. In one side you can convert raw materials into energy units, which is a form of fuel, or into processed materials in the input chest in the other side. Using raw materials as fuel require processing into smokers. Powering the smokers with lava can double the lava smelting output, so a lava bucket converting raw materials into energy units that will be able to smelt 200 items instead of 100 of the normal lava bucket. Given the production volume of these raw materials, you will have a lot to process. Just remember that only the raw materials in their unpacked form can be used to energy or refined materials conversion. It seems that outside the cannons are engaging some hostile, probably the random drown that will get some lead taste. Converting raw materials into energy units are not necessary, as you can input your own source of fuel, but keep in mind that raw materials production and energy can be easily automatized, so it can be handy in some factory configurations. Processed materials instead, which are obtained by smelting raw materials inside blast furnaces, are a powerful material that can almost dupe any other material in Minecraft. However, the more expensive the item you want to replicate, the more denser packed processed materials will be required. So, for example, if you just need one processed material to replicate 1 stone bricks, obtaining 2 stone bricks blocks, you require 128 processed materials for 1 diamond, or 32 for 1 iron, 64 for gold, 8 for strings, etc. Let's just wait for some processed materials to be converted so I can show you. In the meantime, I want to point out at the message you get when entering and exiting a village. That is good information that this mod gives you to let you know when you are inside the boundaries of a vanilla village. This is because many of this mod mechanics, the village controller in particular, are tied to the vanilla villages, but it's not this mod that decides a functional extension of a village area, but in this way at least you know when you are inside it. For your information, be aware that a vanilla village naturally extends when recognizing beds to be assigned to new villages. LOL. Outside it's like World War II because it's night monster spawning time and the guards are defending the village. Let's give them a hand while we wait for the processed materials. Note how my hired guards follow and protect me, switching to the appropriate weapon. In this update of the mod, I included many new animations for the guards and for all the new units like the tanks and the multi-vehicle. I particularly took care of the sounds and texture too, which now are more informative and all serve a purpose. Now that we've produced enough proceeds materials, I am going to show how you can pack and unpack them in their various density states and how you can use them to manufacture items duping them. The recipes here are also available in your normal vanilla recipe book, so you don't have to memorize nothing new, as the possibilities will unlock themselves once you obtain the items. For example, once you obtain stone bricks for the first time, you will see the recipe to dupe them using the appropriately packaged processed material form. Remind that processed materials and energy units, unlike raw materials, stacks only 4 items per inventory slots, suggesting that packaging is necessary for transportation. At the same time, this is very useful for automation systems as they quickly fill the slots of containers and especially hoppers and minecart hoppers, which is useful for some logistic systems and redstone filter logic. Also, it's important to know that advanced units like the tank and the multi-vehicle requires highly compressed form of these processed materials, so to obtain them an industrialization step for the player is required. At the current moment, you don't see many recipes available for dupe with the processed materials because here are shown only the materials I obtained before making and preparing this video. For example, I touched a diamond, so I have a recipe for it, but I did not touch a gold ingot, so I don't have the recipe, but I will once I get a gold ingot for the first time. Exploration and vanilla progression is important for this mod. The systems introduced are not to change vanilla gameplay, but to accompany it. A very useful possibility introduced with this manufacturing system is the ability to dupe armor trims, but not the netherite upgrade one, and also to dupe pottery sherds. I always thought that, given the aesthetic-only nature of these items, they should have been more accessible in vanilla, and so they are now. Let's stop this factory clock and return to the village, so we can check how many emeralds we collected with taxation while we were doing all this. A full block and 3 other emeralds in addition to the 2 we collected earlier. That's nice. But wait a second. What's that dot at the center of the top cross? That's ominous. In fact, that cross on top of the village controller is a meter measuring the risk of Illager siege. As I mentioned earlier, by being in taxation or industry mode, the controller will slowly attract Illager attention. Once the cross meter is fully filled, the village will be targeted for a raid, and you will have to defend it as Illager's raids are now much more dangerous. If you don't feel the risk worth it, you can always stay in land claim mode, but remember that once you switch to taxation or industry mode to return to land claiming mode, you will have to spend a full emerald block. While in land claiming only mode, which has the green flag symbol, the siege risk meter will not grow, but the progress that has made will not be reset, so if you then switch again into taxation or industry mode, the risk is resumed from where it left. If you remember, at the beginning of the video I got assigned Team Black once I entered a village for the first time. I can always switch my team by interacting with a wool of the color of the team I want to join. For example, I want to join Team Blue, and to do so I interact without sneaking. But I can also leave all team and be in no team at all by interacting with any wool but sneaking. Once I am in a team, I can cast my team to my controller interacting with any banner without sneaking. By giving a team to the controller, I allow other players in that team to have rights in my land, so they will not be reduced into adventure mode when they enter. I suggest to use this only as a temporary permission for doing work together. You can make the controller be in no team by interacting with any banner but sneaking. A controller in no team is the most secure option as it only allows the owner to control the land. As you've just seen, I casted my current Team Blue to this multi-vehicle. This can be important since this machine is capable of mining large areas, but it is subject to controller protection too, so they too enter a sort of adventure mode for vehicles. Having a controller in a team can be a temporary permission for your vehicles to do work in the protected land. You can cast also your team to your guards and tanks, but that will be a topic for another video. You can have as many village controllers as you want, respecting the distance limitation on placement. They claim land for you but do not chunk load the area. This means that to produce and collect anything you need to stay in their vicinity, otherwise they are not loaded in memory. But there's another tool at your disposal. You can assign capital status to one of your controllers by spending a diamond block. You can have only one capital at a time. If you need to relocate it, you'll have to destroy the controller interacting with a wooden hoe, losing the controller and having to rebuild it, so be mindful of your choices. A capital is a much more powerful controller as it land claims an area of 120 blocks of radius, much larger than a standard village controller. On top of that, it chunk loads a small area of 32 by 32 blocks around it, so it can continue to produce even if you are far. At the same time, however, the siege risk can grow even if you are away. There is another feature that the capitals have, and that is the ability for their owner to fast travel to it wherever they are. This applies only to the player owner, however, so following guards or tame pets will not follow the player teleporting. To show this, I am introducing you to another system added by this mod, which is an home system. Basically, you can write in chat set home to save your current coordinates. You can do this anytime overwriting your previous home coordinates. Then you can teleport back to your home by writing in chat go home. In the same way, if you have a capital, you can fast travel to it by writing go capital. Let me show it. I will put my guards here in hold position mode so they don't get lost. Since we're here, I also want to introduce the sit anywhere system added in this mod. It allows you to sit on top of any solid block you point by looking completely down, sneaking and hitting it. Let me show you. This is fancy, isn't it? It's just a feature with only immersion purposes. Finally, I can eat at a proper table. Well, let's go back to our guards by returning to the coordinates I stored setting home. Note that during the cooldown in the fast traveling procedure, you don't have to take any damage, otherwise the teleport will be aborted, this to avoid exploits during PvP. Speaking of other players, this mod also introduces a TPA system, which uses similar mechanics. You can write TPA at name of the player you want to teleport to, and that player will receive your request, which he can then accept or deny. Now I would return to the village to take the multi-vehicle for a ride and reach this world spawn point, where there is structure protected, so you can see what means for other players when they enter your protected land. Only problem is that I left my vehicle almost out of fuel, so I am searching for lucky coal here, but nothing. The yellow dot in the red bar behind and the few green dots in the fuel gauge in the abatical clearly show how this vehicle is almost dry. There is no fuel that I left in the trunk. Well, I guess I'll try my luck. It's a short ride anyway. Let me open the doors for my guards so they can tag along. The multi-vehicle will be treated in a dedicated video. For now, just be aware that it is the pinnacle of civil transportation and industrial machinery. It is amphibious too. That structure right there is the spawn point, which is an instant structure available for server owners. See how I am turned into adventure mode once I enter the zone it claims. It's the same thing that happens to other players that enter a zone that is claimed by your village controllers. This spawn point structure can be very useful for new players as it contains many books that explain in detail all the features introduced by this mod. It also served to run a cyclic purge of ground items and automatically set the best settings for servers to run this mod, so it can be a very useful and powerful tool for server owners that quickly want to build up a server to play with their friends. I am going to give you a quick tour, and also I will show you the book pages. Feel free to pause to read them or fast forward this part to skip it. Okay, let's return to the village and cross our fingers because the fuel level of the vehicle is dead low. LOL, the great coal shortage is already here. Note how I return to survival mode once I leave the protected, claimed land of the spawn point. The same thing happens for claimed land by the controller. OMG, the fuel level is all red. The car will die on me anytime. And that's it. The guards disembarked and I cannot move anymore. I need to refuel it if I want to use it again now. Since we have returned, let's check how many new emeralds we made while we were away. Since this is a capital now, it continued to produce even while we were far. Wow, 2 more full emerald blocks. That's nice, but let's also check how the siege risk stands now. It grew a little. Generally, it takes about 12 Minecraft days to reach maximum. All the books and guides that you saw in the spawn point can be available to you anytime with a small instant structure that you can craft using 2 bookshelves. You then obtain this block that you can interact with a stone pickaxe to build the library guide. Let's spend some of this emerald by trading with the villagers. Following a trend that the new official Minecraft versions have started, this mod 2 is making easier for the players to increment villagers' trade level. It only takes one trade to get to apprentice level, and it requires less trades than before to reach the top. All this in addition to the previously mentioned changes to the offers and value of the trades. Remember, trading and emeralds are fundamental for an army to hire guards, which in turn are required for tanks and other units. Now that we have talked about village controllers extensively, let's end this video with a bang. I am turning into creative mode to give me a gold block. You can spend a gold block with your village controller to immediately start a battle, an Illager raid. Every time an Illager raid starts, being it because your controller reached maximum risk, or you manually start it with the gold block or by consuming an ominous bottle, the siege risk level of the village controller will be reset to 0 and will start grow from the beginning. Brothers, prepare for battle. Illagers are now more dangerous. Pillagers behave like guards, having both a melee and a ranged weapon that they switch depending on target distance. They come in greater numbers during the siege, especially the later waves, and they have tanks too. They use tanks to bombard the positions, so they could be able to breach walls and defenses. Note that all Illagers with this mod can break fence gates and all doors except iron ones. Another thing to mind is that underground bases or staying behind the walls not fighting or dressing them is not an option, because after their minutes if they are idle because you do not fight them, they will start launching TNT Vex, which will seek and explode near your units and villages, flushing you out and potentially destroying the village, as the village controller will fall if there are no villagers around, and thus no vanilla village is found in the area. In this case, we don't have to worry. This village is really heavily fortified with expensive and powerful units, so we will easily win this fight. Note how the guards show their damage in the form of red dots. It's a good indicator of their current health. Guards have a slow natural regeneration like the player, but you can give them regeneration one effect interacting with any cooked food, except cooked chicken. They do not like it. Also, guards can obtain fire resistance 1 for 10 minutes spending a copper ingot. Anyway, guards will be treated extensively in another video. Here, the tank took some damage. They bombarded a small portion of the walls. We are in normal difficulty here. In hard, it's much, much harder. We don't have to worry. Our defenses are strong. And that's it. We won. Now that we have the hero of the village effect, we can use it to get better trades, or we can interact with a simple emerald with our village controller to reset the siege risk. By doing so, we lose the hero effect, but it's the only way to reset the siege risk without having to fight. Useful when you're managing multiple villages. You can battle in one and reset the risk in another. The only other thing that can reset a siege risk is spending a nether star. More important info about village controllers is that they can be killed by other players, so you'll have to protect them. I suggest enclosing them in a building which has a redstone combination door or a door that only you can open, so an assaulting player in adventure mode cannot get to it. If they kill your village controller, they can place one of their own in its place, effectively conquering your land. In the following days, I'm going to make more tutorial video about the mod. You can download this version using the LootLab links I provide in the description. Soon this mod will also be available in the MCPEDL site, but they take some time to update the mod pages, so it will require some more time still. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it explicative. Feel free to comment and follow me to stay up to date in the development of this mod. Thank you and have fun.